Hello, everybody. Welcome here. Good to see you today. Happy Easter. Thank you for joining today. This is live, so say hello in the chat. I am multi-streaming here to YouTube and my Facebook profile. So I thought it'd be a very nice idea just to do a Q&A, behind the scenes, sort of away from the piano. So today I've just got the keyboards with letters on it. So I'm just going to have a look on the YouTube. Hello, Marion. I see you there. Marion Kratzer, hello. Steve Nye, good to see you. Let me know if you can hear me okay, and everybody. I'm just going to check the YouTube, not the YouTube, the Facebook feeds as well. So if you have any questions as well, it can be about anything to do with my musical life, piano, what I had for Easter, or anything, funny trick questions. Put them in the comments and I will soon get to those and answer them. We're just going to have some fun here. Hello, Paul, as well. Good to see you here. Now, I'm pretty excited because I'm using OBS, and last night I discovered a way to be able to see the comments inside OBS, so it's a much easier now, and it's going to be very convenient when I do future stageit shows and everything else like that. So, hello, happy Easter to everybody. Steve, Karina, Marion, Paul. So hello, Karina as well, who's just joined. Good to see you here. If you have any questions, put them in the chats, and I'll get to those in a moment. Okay, the Facebook stream is live as well. So those of you who are watching on Facebook, if you would like to join the YouTube stream as well, just go to my YouTube page. It's youtube.com/DanielRobertsPiano, and the live stream will be the latest video, of course, that is streaming live right now. So let me just get Facebook on. So before I answer anyone's questions, I had one that was sent to me in advance by stageit, who most of us on stageit know. Her real name is Anne, I believe, and she sent me a question to answer because she can't actually be here live right now. So I'm going to address that question first, and then I'll happily answer all the other questions that people put. So hello, Matt Bradshaw as well. Good to see you here. So thank you. It's great to see a good number of you over from stageit. I thought this would be a cool idea on YouTube, because I actually, I originally planned to do this on stageit as a sound check sort of broadcast, so you don't have to pay and come and ask questions. But then I thought, actually, I can just do that on YouTube. Most people are there anyway. So I'm going to answer stageit question first. I've got the comments from Facebook live there. So if you're watching on Facebook as well, feel free to comment on the live video any question you have, and I will answer that. I can see Facebook and YouTube here. So stageit asked me to talk a little bit about what it was like working with my mentor, Peter Feuchtwanger. So in a nutshell, Peter Feuchtwanger was my last piano teacher, and he was amazing at helping pianists to solve physical tension problems. So a lot of pianists get problems from tension where they have bad habits from playing in fixed positions for ages, and not very healthy ways of playing, and he just helped myself and thousands of other pianists over his long career to overcome any tension problems and let go of those tensions and play the piano in a much more natural and economical way. So basically, to work with him and receive his help was amazing and life-changing. And he sadly passed away in 2016. So in June this year, it will be 5 years actually. But I remember when I was a student in Leeds, back in November 2008. I had my first lesson with him. I travelled to London from Leeds and had my first lesson with him, and I was amazed because he could straight away identify any issues or tensions in my technique and helped me, and that was the start of a long process that is still ongoing today, but I'm happily able now to play much more demanding and difficult works with more physical ease. Now, they're still difficult, but having that facility to play them certainly helps, so I can enjoy them more. So that, in a nutshell, is what the experience of having Feuchtwanger as a mentor was like. So, people watching, feel free to leave your questions. I can see lots of hellos and highs to each other. Don't be shy. Feel free to ask me anything. I'm going to be on here for a little while. And if you're on Twitter or anywhere, I'd appreciate if you share this out as well. That always helps. So I thought it'd be cool to do this because I follow a few YouTubers as well, and it's always nice when you can talk directly to them in the chat, because then you can obviously get the live response and the instant feedback. And also, I'm just going to check Facebook to see if the comments are coming through or if I can see them. Okay, question from Steve Nye then. Just hold that for a second. I'm just going to check the Facebook again. I'm not seeing comments, but I think that's because no one's commented yet. So please comment there. But anyway, let's come to Steve Nye. So when was your first concert and what did you play? Very good question. So let's say my first... See, when I started learning piano when I was very young, like 9, I did play pieces. But we'll skip forward to when I really seriously started focusing on piano. So it was when I was about 14, I think 14 or 15, and I played in a pupils concert from my teacher at the time, Alison, who might be watching this on Facebook, and I played 2 short pieces. One of them I've actually performed recently on stageit, known as Mozart's Rondo alla Turca, and then I played the Gymnopédie No. 1. Now, that's interesting that has come up because today my good friend Hannah Walmer was doing a stageit show, and she played a piece by Satie, and then she asked me if I had ever played Satie because she's never heard me play it, but I did tell her then, of course, yes, I've played Gymnopédie No. 1 many years ago. I think the last time I played it was at school when we had our graduation or leaving assembly, as we called them there. So yeah, that was my first official concert. Really, was almost 20 years ago now. So thank you for that question, Steve. And I still love performing because the great thing for pianists as well is that we have a massive repertoire and choice of music to play. And there's so many transcriptions of orchestra pieces as well. So we got transcriptions of orchestra music to play as well as the original piano music. And then there's also transcriptions of composers' piano music. So Liszt, he did some versions of music by Beethoven as well. And there's millions of avenues for us to go down. Marion says you should do concerts featuring him. Do you mean Satie? Well, I'd like to play Gymnopédie. I like all 3 of them actually, the 3 Gymnopédies. So why don't we say I'll look at those over the next few months? Because I think to do just his music, it's a bit limited. But I could certainly play a few of his pieces mixed in with the other stuff that I like to play. So for those of you who are watching, if you're not sure about what stageit is as well, some of the people here on YouTube commenting, they follow me on stageit.com. It's where I do my virtual piano concerts every month. I do at least 2 or 3 shows there, and what I like about stageit is it's got all the systems in place, so all you need to do is schedule your performances and then they take care of the tickets and everything else like that. And it's a really great system, and I'm sure everyone here who follows me there, you'll agree it's been a very nice platform, especially over the last 12 months and during this time when we're more at home and we can't really go physically to live performances. So any more questions? What'll be good is if a few of you put some questions there so I can get to them while I'm answering the ones before. So just on a side note as well, I started a concerto series recently here on YouTube, and I'm using it as in a similar way to stageit.com. So I'm doing a concerto series, and the next one will be in May, where I'm performing Rachmaninoff's Second. And just for the next minute, I'm going to play a trailer video. Some of you have seen this already, but I thought it'd be cool to share that anyway during this. So here is the trailer video for the concerto series. Okay, so that was the video for the YouTube Concerto series. So now, Paul Polin over on YouTube is asking, how does stageit compare to live performances? That's a very interesting question. So I'll talk about from my perspective as a performer. So usually when I'm performing to a physical audience in the room, because you're both real audiences if you're watching online or in the room. I'm not going to say live or not live, etc. So let's just say physical audience. When you're playing for the physical audience, you really feel a different energy of the room, like the people anticipating the first notes you're going to play, or chord or octaves, whatever the music starts with. And in a way, I think it helps you focus more because you have that presence of the people physically in the room. And as a pianist, they're usually on this side. You know, I'm not facing them; they're seeing this side of my profile. And I think it's, you know, for them, of course, it's a great experience if they get to sit in a place where they can see the hands or get the best sound as well. If I'm making good sounds as well, that is. And then on the other side, where performing on stage online, I think it's very different basically because you don't have the people there. And when sometimes I've noticed when I'm playing, you can slip into practice mode. So you're playing and you notice some errors or mistakes a lot more because you don't have that sort of buzz of energy from the people in the room. So it's, I think, to answer your question in a simple way, I think performing online is actually harder because you have to sort of push yourself more to get back into the zone and the focus. And I'm not criticizing anything, but some of the bad things that can happen sometimes is if you have a lot of things to do, like myself, I have to set up the laptop and the technology and everything for each of my shows. And that can be a little distracting sometimes, but I've trained myself that once I'm playing, that's it, just focus on the playing again. And whatever's happening in the comments or the chats or the technology, I can sort that out after each music that I play as well. So it's very different, yeah. And ideally, you know, I'd like to have another person or a team like Hannah does who can deal with the tech side. I'm not going to put Patricia through all of that, my wife. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. So we got another question now. Let me just get some water. So by the way, just a quick recap, if anyone is here watching on Facebook, if you would like to come over to join the YouTube as well, I'm just going to put my YouTube link in the chat there actually. Oops, hang on a minute. I know what's happening. Okay, that happens because I have what are called hotkeys. So when I press some letters, the video changes like it just did then. I forgot about that. So very quickly on Facebook, I put a comment on the live stream to my YouTube channel, so you can come and join this. And even if you're watching the replay, you can come and watch that later as well and see the live chats. So next question. If you had one place to perform, where would it be? That is from Steve Nye. So I think there's a lot of places, but one place, as you say, it would have to be the Royal Albert Hall in London, which is an amazing venue. It's probably not the greatest for acoustics and sound, but I think the atmosphere in there, when you have a full house with people, it's amazing. And it's sort of it's a big circular room. I'm sure if you know about it, you know this anyway, but for anyone who doesn't know it, and I was there last time they had the BBC Proms concerts for live audiences in the summer of 2019. I went with Patricia to a performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and that was amazing. You know, I went to the Proms a lot when I was living there, and that would be the ideal place because as well, when you're on the stage, if there is a full audience in the hall, they're all around you as well. So you're not in the middle. You're on the stage at one end of the hall, but there are seats behind the stage as well, going all the way around, and then there's the seats in the middle, and then all around. So you've got all eyes from all directions on you, really. So Paul says, I think that would be so cool to play in front of an audience. I would as well, and the last time I did was December 2019 when I did a recital here where we live, actually in the very place where I do my stageit shows from, that nice room with the Yamaha piano. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to pin that comment. Okay, so on Facebook now, I pinned my YouTube channel to the first comment. So if you're watching on the Facebook Live and would like to come over to YouTube, we've got a bit more chat happening there currently. Come and ask some questions there, or you can equally ask a question on Facebook. I'm happy either way. No problem, Paul. I'm happy to answer questions. So anyone who's just joining, welcome. I'm pianist Daniel Roberts. If you come across this channel, let me know how you've found it. If it was from Twitter or it just came up on your suggested YouTube feed, that would be cool to know. And those watching, feel free to ask any questions. I'll stay on for probably like 10 or 15 more minutes before I wrap up, because I'm going to go and practice and then just relax here. So those of you who follow me on stageit as well, I've got my next show on Sunday next week, the 11th of not December, the 11th of April, because I was talking about December, and I'm playing Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata and other music. I've got a Spanish piece that is very beautiful that I haven't played for a while, so I'm looking forward to that. So next question from Paul Poling. When you did the New York competition, how was the competition? Yeah, great. So in September, all these dates I have to remember now, September 2019, I took part in the NDTV, I think I can't remember, NDTV piano competition in New York City. That was really cool because I'd never been to New York, so I got to visit New York for the first time. It was my second time in the United States, and I've always had a very pleasant time both times I visited there. So I like your country very much, everybody there, despite whatever you think about it and things, whatever's going on there. I had a very nice time there. And yeah, the competition was cool because I got to meet some people who have remained friends now, some colleagues of mine. I didn't pass the preliminary stage, but the experience of preparing all the music was pretty nice because it's it's a very good training for a piano career, because when you get very busy with recitals and performances with orchestra, then of course you've got to balance all the different music you've got to prepare. And especially, when you're playing pieces with orchestras, some of these concertos are like 30 to 40 minutes, and you might be playing 2 or 3 of those in the same month sometimes as well. So it gives you the experience of being able to switch very quickly and adapt to different venues. So the place I performed in New York was at it was at a college, trying to remember the name. It was in Lexington Avenue in New York, which I'm sure most of you have heard of or know. And the room was very nice, and I only got about 3 minutes to try the piano on the day of the first performance. So it's very pressured that way, but sometimes that will happen, especially if you're traveling to another country or around Europe on a tour. Time might be very limited to rehearse or practice in a room. So yeah, the competition was good though, because afterwards, even though I didn't pass, I was allowed to go and listen to other pianists who got further, and that was very nice to hear them playing some really beautiful pieces, some of which I know and have played. So yeah, I hope that answers. And the benefit of not getting through to the next stages was I had 2 whole days just to explore New York then, which was very nice. And I was lucky to be with a guy that knew the city inside out, so he showed me around some parts that it would have taken me time to find them, so it was just very nice to have that. Okay, so oh, hello Lee, good to see you, thanks for joining. So Lee asked, what is the classical scene like in Brazil? Well, it's very very diverse actually, because there's a lot of Brazilian classical music as well, and of course they want to perform that as their national music. So you got the music by Villa-Lobos and Francisco Mignone, which I played one of his pieces a few weeks ago on stage, or a couple of months ago. But as well, they play the traditional music that you would hear all the time, like Mozart concertos and Beethoven, Rachmaninoff's. Now, I think the best city, in my opinion, for classical music in Brazil is Sao Paulo city, and then probably others like Rio, and there's one in the south as well that's got a very nice concert hall, Rio Grande do Sul. And they have orchestras as well, like state orchestras. Now, of course, right now they're not playing at all, and I think they haven't been for the last year. But there have been projects. Some pianists did a project last year where, excuse me, I had lunch a few hours ago. They were playing Beethoven because last year it was his 250th anniversary. And they had a piano on the back of a truck or a van driving around Sao Paulo, and lots of pianists were playing his music. I think it was all the 32 sonatas going around the city. So that, people have been very creative, like Hannah has been as well, myself hopefully, in doing things like this during this pandemic. And last year I was going to perform in Rio de Janeiro for the first time, and then that got unfortunately cancelled, and I won't be doing that probably till even next year now. So I was really looking forward to that, but that's how it's been. So Then we got Paul again asking, do you play any other instruments? Yes, I used to play in brass bands. So I grew up in the Salvation Army. My parents work as officers in the Salvation Army in the UK. And so when I grew up in that, I went to the churches and played in the bands. So my first instrument was actually the cornet. And for those of you who don't know, it's like a little trumpet basically. Looks the same and works the same. So I know how to play brass instruments like, trumpet, horn. The last one I played was one called a euphonium, which is, for those again who don't know, it's basically like a tuba, but a bit smaller, but you hold it like that. And I did some exams on that because in the UK we do grade exams. So I did that for piano and I did it for that instrument as well, euphonium. I do know how to play as well, piano accordion. The problem is right now I just don't have one, otherwise I could practice it, of course. So let's keep that in mind, everyone. If I can get a piano accordion, then I can use that on stageit shows down the line. That will probably be though in 2 or 3 years, but let's keep that thought. If you keep telling me about the piano accordion, then I'll see what I can do to get one. Okay, so hope everyone has had a very nice Easter Sunday, and let me know where you are watching from as well. There's a couple more questions here, I think. So Steve is asking, have you ever played on radio or TV? Yes, so I've played on Brazilian TV a couple of times. The first one was pre-recorded when I played with an orchestra here for the first time, playing actually Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, and they did a news spot on that, and they filmed a couple of moments of me playing. Radio, not so much, but I have been interviewed on radio. With Hannah, we were interviewed on BBC Radio in Norwich in the UK, and I was interviewed on BBC Essex, and they played a small clip of my album on that show actually before they interviewed me. That's a funny story because it was when I was doing a recital in a town or city now in England. It's called Southend-on-Sea in Essex, where Hannah's from, and the interview was at about 7 in the morning, and at that time I was living in East London, and I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. and get a bus to the train station and then the train to Southend just to arrive for that interview, and then I had to hang around till lunchtime when the actual recital was. So that was a long day, but very worth it. And I got to see my grandma as well, so not all bad. So we got Paul from Albany, Indiana. Great to have you here. Oh, okay. So everybody, I'm going to wrap up in a moment. So if anyone has one final question, this is the time to slip it in. Let me know if you've enjoyed this Q&A chat, and if you'd like me to do this more often, maybe like once a month or so, because I like to talk, as you can probably tell. Sometimes it's a bit tiring because usually in my stageit I'm not talking all the time. I'm playing as well, and then talking a bit and then playing more. We've got Steve from Fairfax, California. Cool. So for those of you who haven't been to one of my stageit shows, I would like to invite you. And the easiest way to join is if you go to stageit.com. You can search pianist Daniel Roberts. I've also created a link. I'm just laughing because I've just seen the next question. I'll get to that in a moment on YouTube. I've created the domain link actually, pianostreamsonline.com, and that will take you straight to stageit. You can see all my upcoming shows. I do a lot of shows playing solo pieces, and then sometimes I play concertos with orchestra, virtual backing orchestra, which I started doing more last year as well. So I've got a whole load of concertos scheduled up till December this year. Some of them will be new ones for me. So next Sunday, I'm playing the Moonlight Sonata, which Marion just commented on YouTube. So, Marion, are you going to have a Q&A where you can be saucy? Maybe I can. You know, nothing is stopping you asking saucy things now, you know. But I'll tell you one thing very quickly. I don't really have ketchup, you know. I like tomatoes, little ones, but I don't have ketchup. So there you go. So thank you, Paul, as well. Loved the talk. I'm glad you did. You know, and I know some of you here on this day as well, Easter Sunday, you might be away from loved ones and all. So I hope this has been nice for you just to relax a bit for a little while. And thank you, Marion, for getting your ticket for the Moonlight Sonata. I've played this piece a lot since 2015. When I moved to Brazil, I started performing it here. I must have played it in, I think, more than 10 times already, you know, the whole. And for those who don't know as well, Moonlight Sonata, it is a free movement piece. I know most of you know this, of course, I'm just explaining, because everybody knows the famous da 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 da, that part, but there's two other really fantastic movements, and it's a real pleasure to play that piece as well, even though it's not the most joyful music, you know, it's quite dark and ends a bit dramatically, but it's just fantastic as well. Okay, everybody, so I've been live for over 30 minutes. That has been cool. So thank you, everybody. It's been really nice to chat with you here today. And I'll think about when I'll do another Q&A, but it's been cool. I might just do it on YouTube next time as well, but the replay is here live on Facebook anyway. So if you are watching on the replay on Facebook or YouTube and you have a question, just put it in the comments below the video, and then I'll get to that and answer you by text. But I hope then when I do the next Q&A, you can join at the time. I think this is a nice time on a Sunday. I might do one on a Saturday or something next time. So thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to next week's Stageit show, and I've got some cool new features on my live stream that I'm going to add here on the screen and things, but you'll see that. I won't tell you about those now. So thank you, Marion. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Paul and Karina and Lee and everybody else who was here. I think I've mentioned everyone on YouTube. So, you know, it's been great to have you here, even if you just came to listen. That's totally fine. I'm happy you were here. And you will be, Marion says, I'll be there with Worcestershire sauce. Wonderful. I like mayonnaise as well, just so you know, for next time. All right, everybody, have a nice rest of the day, and if you're watching this later on, hope you had a very nice Easter, and I'll see you in the next show or Q&A. Visit my page, danielrobertsmusic.com. That's my website if you're new to me, and you can see all the information there about my online performances and what I've done already, and my album and everything as well. So thank you. Yes, thank you, Paul and everyone else. I think I've mentioned everyone. So take care, everybody. See you very soon.